So, so the question is that when do you need to know that you should get a genetic test, and when do you not need to know? So I would, broadly speaking, I'm going to make the inference that you're not going to have any more kids. So, so the idea is that I'm going to tell you the way, if you were in my office and you were seeing me, I would say, I always want to know. Steve Shear always wants to know. I couldn't be who I am if I didn't always want to know. But is it going to matter to you personally? So if you have children and grandchildren and you want to come to some understanding of what the heck could be going on in your family, then probably you do want to know. Probably you do. If there's no need to know this year, the genetic testing is going to get better and better and cheaper over time, and you can sort of wait it out a little bit longer, and I would predict within 5 years we'll have answers for at least half the kinds of CMT2, maybe even more, and the test price is going to be much less. It's like a new computer, you know, the computers are going to get better and cheaper over time. Well, the genetic tests are going to get better and cheaper over time. Well, I have to say, I'd be lying to say, I mean, there are several children in this world who are here because I told people not to not have children because they have CMT. I'm a father of 4, so, you know, and one of my, well, I've had medical problems with my kids. I mean, would I not want my kids because they have medical issues? There's no way that's true.
And having a boy maybe is less. I read maybe I didn't read that right, but
You didn't read it right.
I didn't read it right.
No. If you have CMT-X, the X-linked form of CMT, that's worse in men than in women typically. But men can't give their X chromosomes to their sons. So that's just the truth of it. So if you have CMT-X, if I have CMT-X, I will give the trait to my daughters because I'm giving my X chromosome to make my daughters. But to my sons, I give my Y chromosome, so I don't pass it on to my sons. So if you have CMT-X, you cannot pass it on, but to your daughters, you will always pass it on by the same token. So for all other CMT1s, that's the dominantly inherited forms, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to pass on the chromosome with the mutation or the chromosome without the mutation. It's a 50-50. That's the way life works on this point. But I don't think this is my personal belief. I'm not speaking for anybody but me, but I would not tell anybody ever not to have kids because they have CMT. Never. It just wouldn't be what I believe in. And I would respect their decision not to do it, but you know, the paternalistic physician of 50 years ago who did tell people out here not to have kids, that's like a dagger in my heart. That person was completely ignorant and out of their moral boundaries to say that to people. So it took this long to get this question out there. So the idea is more generally, so what's the role of exercise when you have CMT? So for sure, the muscles that are weak and atrophy, you cannot make them much stronger because there's just no nerve fibers driving those muscles to be stronger, because without the nerve fibers, the muscles just simply don't do anything. And so you can't build up the weak and atrophied muscles. But the muscles that are not weak and atrophied will benefit from weight training or will benefit from aerobic exercise probably in the same way that anybody else's muscles would. It's just, you got these weak hand muscles, and you can't make those stronger no matter what you do. All the weights and balls, and that's not going to happen. But the muscles that really power you through your legs are above the knees. You can definitely work those muscles. And the only thing that I would say in general that I've come to appreciate is that the limitations of not feeling your feet and having the orthopedic issues that evolve in your feet make me very reluctant to recommend that people with CMT exercise by walking or treadmills, and certainly not jogging. But I love elliptical trainers, pools, bicycles. I think those represent no impact, very dynamic movements of your legs, but not making your feet pay the price. So, and then, you just gotta go do something that gets you out of the house and into the gym, or if you have your own equipment. Most people with CMT do not have neuropathic pain because the most common forms of CMT are the demyelinating forms, and they're not typically associated with neuropathic pain, though I know there are exceptions to that. Most people with CMT1A, and I've seen lots, don't list neuropathic pain as a prominent symptom that they have. And the study that we're doing now bears that out, because I've been seeing people every Tuesday and enrolling them in the study. What they do have terrible a lot of is orthopedic joint tendonitis, that kind of pain. And the important distinction to make about that is that they get different kinds of treatments, because the neuropathic pain might respond better to things like Neurontin and Lyrica and tricyclics, which musculoskeletal pain will not. And the musculoskeletal pain will respond better to things like, splints, bracing, and Motrin, which the neuropathic pain will not. So to your best ability, you got to sort of listen and try to hear what the story seems to be. If it's sharp, burning pain that comes on at night, it makes your feet feel like they're glowing on fire, that's neuropathic pain. But if it's the achy, creaky, my 55-year-old body kind of pain, then that's an orthopedic issue. And they get different sort of treatments.
Problem with the digital image and CMT, like as much digital imaging I'm doing and love, you don't get you can change all the planes of motion with a digital image, but you miss out on what you feel to the patient. I do a digital image when I know that person can easily get to neutral and it's not a problem for me and I don't have callousing issues or other problems or concerns in that manner. I would never do a digital image with you if I were seeing you. And I love doing digital imaging. Yeah. I'm putting these up there because these are things I don't think work all that well for patients with CMT, but are in the world of CMT. The silicone AFO, I've fit probably 3 different patients now with the silicone AFOs. And they're designed, when you make them, they're meant to be put in some dorsiflexion, which the problem with putting somebody into dorsiflexion is it encourages a crouched position. But the advantage to putting someone in dorsiflexion is then they're going to definitely clear and land with their heel. So the people who are interested in silicone AFOs are usually interested in them for cosmetic reasons. And here's my note to you on that. If you wear socks, they take the dye color of the socks and the silicone absorbs that. Yeah, the shoes will change the color. Everything's going to change the color. So if you're caring about the way they look, they're not going to look that way a month after you have them anyway. That's been my experience with them. Plus they rip. There's other issues with them there too, and they're warm. And even having a CMT patient telling me that is remarkable. And they're very, very expensive. So in my opinion, it doesn't treat a patient biomechanically in the right manner. So I don't feel like it's the proper thing for us to do. As something like this product here, the foot up too, it's not just a problem of lifting up that foot. It's a triplanar deformity, 3 planes of motion involved. So it's not enough to just put an elastic strap and say, okay, good enough. So, but it's how long do you think a stretch needs to be held for? Any idea? Question. The stretch needs to be held for at least 15 minutes. In animal models, that's right. So all that stretching in here helps maintain where we're at. But to actually gain length in the muscles in the studies, it showed at least 15 minutes. So that's why night splinting is effective. But it's also effective if you're watching your favorite television program and every commercial you're pulling up those ankles, those straps a little tighter, you're feeling that extra bit of stretch, you're relaxing on while the program's on. I do that with my pediatric patients all the time too, who, they don't like to sleep with something on their leg because they don't like to sleep with something on their leg. They move a lot and they kick and they. Yeah. No, I sleep like a paralyzed person, so I don't move at all. I can do it, but yeah, I sleep like a log. So I've worn a night splint myself because I had some plantar fascia issues, and it is effective in gaining. Encourage everybody to look at the ergonomics of their work setup. I used to work with a friend and we'd go into work in offices and look at desk setups. Often people's seat heights are the wrong position, the keyboard's at the wrong position, the monitor's at the wrong position, the keyboard's here, the monitor's there, they develop neck problems and they don't know why. You know, so there are a lot, if you Google ergonomics and desk setup, those are the straws on the camel's back sort of thing. And you're making compensations already, the way you grip things, the way you do things. Just try to be mindful. You know, I would say it's not necessarily about having to do things the same way you've always have done them, but learning how to adapt to doing them a different way, you know. Learn to use a zipper pull. There's something called a foot funnel. Go to footfunnel.com. It's a cool thing that holds up the back of the shoe so that you slide your foot in, then it's on a string and you pull that out of there. You don't have to bend over and hold the back of your shoe open. It's a really cool thing that I've seen CMT patients use. There's a thing that you can buy that goes on the top of your gas cap that will help you, because the gas cap can be one of those things that's really difficult for people to deal with. There's all kinds of adaptive things like that. Yeah, shoelaces, there are different adaptations for shoelaces. There are elastic type straps. There are straps that you can actually convert a lace shoe into a Velcro style shoe, which is better than wearing a Velcro shoe in many cases because you're able to draw it tighter. That's really something, a good conversation to talk to an occupational therapist about. So if you talk to your physician and say, you know, these are things that I identified that I struggle with in the bathroom and in the different aspects of your life, they'll come and they'll bring a big catalog of these different tools, and they can sit there and help to identify with you the different things that might help to just make simple things easier for you, buttoning or zippering or whatever it may be.